Hello, this is part 2 of a video series on using database adapters and getting data from the database. In the first series, I showed how to grab data using a first select count and then just a select data from the table, and then using a function to get values. And this function is basically just doing a select count, and this one is getting a selecting data and loading it into an object called LOrder, which is basically data object, a type in PL SQL, and then returning it. I had some special error handling in that procedure, which said that if there was no data, then pump in values for it and return a status of no records found. But you don't always have control over what you're going to get. You don't have control over the database, perhaps, and you can't go in and rewrite existing processes to conform to your needs, so you have to live with what you've got. And in that case, how would you deal with that if there was no special error handling to help you, or it wasn't intelligibly designed? You'd have to resort to some processes in SOA to verify that the data was in fact correct. Now we're going to run this, and we're just going to see exactly what goes on. The first one is doing a select count, and then the second one is saying, hey, give me this data where this is the order ID, right here. So if I run SQL Plus, and I ran it already with a 2, let me just show you the function here. We say, get the order count with order ID of 2. And what is the order ID, order information, where the order ID is 2? And the values are this. And if we look at the table, you can see that this is in fact the data we wanted. Now what happens if we do a program where we're counting on 25 as the order ID, which does not exist? Okay, and I run it again. Oh, not that. This. Oh, and those beeps were this is part of the error handling. Basically, we get an error. So let's see what happens when we run this in SOA Composite. And we have the select count. Then we have the basically just a select statement. Then we have the function select count, and then we have the function, which is the one we just ran. So if we go over into Enterprise Manager, we have 25 there, and we're going to run it. Looks like there's some faults. Let's take a look. Now, the first one was the select count, and that returned a 0, which is what we would expect. The second one was the select table data from order ID, or orders where order ID equals 25, and we entered in 25, and this is what we get. There's a select output collection. So that's actually kind of helpful, because then we could do a test on this to see if there's any records. And in fact, there's 0 records, and the order exists equals false. So that's helpful. And if you're working with a function, though, which you may have to do, the function failed for the very same reasons that the order failed. It doesn't handle it very well, does it? So we're going to have to work into, in this situation, you would really want to run the select count first, which is is there data? And then, yes, there is data, and test for it, and then run this. So what you would first do, instead of just running this one, hey, is there data? And afterwards, you'd put a switch in here, and if there was data, then you'd run it. Excuse me. You'd run it, And if there wasn't data, you would skip it and return something to the user to that effect. So that is how you would design something like this. Hope that was helpful. Have a good day. In fact, maybe we'll just do that. Okay, that was easy. Amazing what you can do. This is why SOA is so useful, because you can easily add information in to rework your application as you need to. Okay, so basically instead of a switch, I put in an if, because this is BEPL 2.0, as you can see in the upper right there. And basically I say if the order exists, call the function. If the else, then make this assignment here. Order does not exist. And running that, we can run it with 2. And you can see in the flow here that there is no error. And we do run the function getError. I'm not going to show you because obviously you can see that it's there. If we change this to 25, and you can see now that the response is going to show no error. There is no function calling though. And if we look at the very bottom, the callback payload is order does not exist. So that is amazing. It took me a total of 5 minutes to run this, make this change, and test it, and then I was able to get back to you. So that shows you just how quickly you can do things in SOA. Hope this was helpful. Have a good day.